So without further ado, I would like us to get to the issue of finances. Finances is a very controversial topic. And recently we have women working, women holding high positions, women making their own money. Sometimes a woman gets married, she has a car, she has her own house, she's independent. Basically, like the man is coming as a partner and support. What limits do we have on finances? When we get married, do we become one even financially? Or it's just spiritually? I would like to welcome Mr. and Mrs. Ndossi to address that, and other member of the panel will also have time to answer that.
Thanks, Pastor Nora. I think I've got my thoughts and some comments around that, but I would want 2 or 3 contributions from the audience just on that. What is your thinking? Yeah? I want it to be interactive.
So what mmeelewa alichosema, he wants first to know our perspective. So I would request if you can have a man talk, a woman, so that 2 women, 2 men, so they also give us a clear point. Wewe kama mwanaume, right now you are single. Unadhani ukioa, do you have to tell your wife every money you get? Kwamba leo umeenda ukapiga gigi hela ikaingia ambayo sio mshahara. Do you have to tell her? Or you think, nah, she doesn't have to know about this? Lakini woman, do you think, yes, we know the Bible says the man is the provider, is the head and everything. Do you think when I get married, I have to tell him about everything I earn? Oh no, my money is my money, his money is our money. Can we have some? And guess what? We are not judging. We're here to learn. So usiogope kuongea ukadhania kwamba watanionaje. No, we are not here to judge. We are here to learn. Karibu. Amen.
I'm called Sharon. According to my understanding, according to me, I'm not yet married. I don't know what happens there. I think the best way I would do it is, for example, if I'm earning 2 million, as that is my salary, I would tell my husband, you know about 1.5 and leave me to enjoy my 500.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sharon.
Maybe the 500 is when my mother calls me and she has a challenge and cannot share with my husband, I can just send a mobile money. Okay. Or I have a private challenge I want to sort there and then.
Okay.
But I'm welcome to any advice.
Thank you.
Hi. I was taught this, not taught, but this is something I've heard from a previous couple of pastors, which I think would work. They have a joint account where they both contribute. They both know I make a certain amount, you make a certain amount. We agree that we're going to have this joint account. Each one puts this certain amount to cater for bills and all that stuff. And then each one has separate accounts. The one reason that stood out to me was the fact that if they happen to be anywhere and God led them to give a certain amount to somebody, they wouldn't have to go to the spouse to consult them about what God said or what God instructed them to give. So I think having a joint account and then separate ones for themselves works well.
Okay, thank you very much. 2 men.
Hello.
Hello.
So I will just share something very little concerning the area of finance. On my side, as of now, and I've been sharing with the lady I'm dating what I'm earning, and I usually tell her, so this is what I'm earning, and I'm expecting to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And at that particular time, she also adds up the good thing is that this is am the one who is earning, not you. So that's the good side. And the one who is sharing it, not you. So that is also the good side. And we are dating as two, not 4 or 6 people. So I'll be sharing with her, and she will just add up, okay, can you do this, don't do this, do that. So in her input, as a logical, I will also know that this is the wise decision or not. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. One more comment from a man, and then we continue.
The name is Jerry. What I think, there is this complication. Everyone behave differently when they have a lot of money. And let's say a woman has more. Let's say a woman has more. Or even a man has more. So there is this complication, like the other one might feel inferior. I'm saying it's not about giving the same amount. Maybe the woman can put more in the family and stuff like that. So what I think is for both of you have to reach an agreement, and no one should feel inferior, and you should not make your partner feel inferior. That's my point.
Thank you very much. So we are back to Mr. Ndossi now.
Thanks for those valuable contributions and perspectives. I just wanted this to be a bit interactive. I think, again, I'm not the expert, not that I know the scriptures in full, not that I'm practicing it perfectly on my side, but I'll share a thing or two based on the grace of God in terms of how we've been able to walk through our marriage. This is our 10th year of marriage, by the grace of God. So I'll start by saying, I think the principle is, from a Christian perspective, the principle is firm that as a husband, you're the primary provider and protector of your family or of your home, right? So that's the principle. The second bit, I'll relate it back to courtship, right? I think that's the time that as a couple, you also need to ensure that you iron out these issues. And it could be cultural for this part of the world where, we potentially don't discuss. If you look at maybe our fathers or our grandfathers, I mean, the way that, a father or a man manages his finances was, in a very specific way, which may not necessarily be in line with the view that God has for marriage. If you're going to share everything with each other, why is it that it's a problem to discuss and be transparent about finances? And this actually goes both ways. Remember once we were sitting with colleagues, and there was a group of ladies attacking guys to say that they can't trust us with finances, etc. We just decided to ask, in terms of whatever that they have, if it's plots, etc. Most of them actually had registered their plots in the names of their mothers. And then we turned to the guys, and most of the guys had registered in the name of their wife and kids. So there is this mistrust that is usually prevalent, and I think there are some facts or factors which leads to that. But I think if you look at it from God's perspective, if you two are going to become one, why should it be an issue to discuss and be transparent about finances? Now, in terms of who manages what, who earns what, that I think can be very unique according to each household. I've got a friend whose wife was a director at a big company. She was earning a lot, but she was comfortable with the guy planning and managing the finances. So she would earn, she would bring the funds, they would consolidate, and then he would be making the investment decisions. And you also have the other way around, where I've got a friend who's a guy, the wife is an accountant, she's got a CPA, she's very good with finances, and he would leave her to make those decisions, and it sort of works for them, right? So again, through courtship, try and use that time to unpack the views about finances from each other and get to the context. Why is she thinking this way? Why is he thinking or behaving this way? It could be family background. either what we learned or they learned from the parents, or they went through a very difficult time. You could find somebody who you could call stingy, but it emanates from the experiences that they've been through, and there is a way that they deal with money which you may not be, cognizant with. But, so use that time to just try and ascertain, how is it that as the two of us are going to manage finances. Because when you get married, there are some very strategic decisions which, if you're not united, it will be a big source of problems in the home. There are some strategic decisions which you cannot compromise. Things like, which house should we rent, right? What is the cost of rental, right? Or which plot should we buy? Or which house should we buy or build? How are we going to be able to get over this? Now, in my case, throughout the years until I think 2 years ago, I had never requested a single penny from my wife. I mean, she would support the family, she would be buying stuff maybe for the kids, etc. here and there, but me asking her for funds, it was only about 2 years ago when we were moving to our home. The project was too big, I had run out of cash, and we were under pressure to move. That's the first time I had to ask my wife for funds. That's just me, and it works for me, right? So I think it boils down to that, to say that whatever the two of you decide, agree, and you're united on, then that would ideally be what works for the two of you. Now, in terms of, whether the lady's money is hers, etc., I mean, again, maybe you could even have a look at, read Proverbs 31, what that virtuous lady or woman was doing, and it would tell you about a woman's role in the home, even though the primary responsibility for provision and protection is with the man, but there is a big part that, from a Christian perspective, that a woman plays in a home. I don't believe that, because the responsibility is on a man and he's going through a hard time, you've got money or you're able to assist. You don't simply because it's his responsibility. As a team, because God looks at you as one, what's the point then, right, of having that union or having that unity? So maybe that's how I would put it. Maybe one other example. I've got another friend again. They began courting when they were in first or second year. The lady used the boom money to buy a plot. When they graduated, the guy got a job, she got a job, they got married. The guy built a house on the plot that the lady had bought. It works for them, they're Christians, of course. So you have those dynamics. But I think for me, at the end of the day, if you're one and you're sharing a lot of things, why not being transparent about finances? And again, it goes back to msingi during courtship. What expectations are you setting? If you're setting an expectation that, you're the Superman, you can do it all on yourself, well, God be with you. But I think it's good to share so that during the highs and the lows, you're together. Thanks.
Thank you. So if I am to say something, if I am to say what I understood you correctly, Mr. Ndossi, is that there shouldn't be secrets on finances, but rather you as a team or as a couple should decide how your finances are spent.
Agreed, absolutely. And I think to that effect, I like the other example where, you have some sort of a joint sort of account, and there is a portion which, some sort of an allowance where, you can spend on what you see fit, she can spend on what she sees fit, because at times, we have extended families, some people need help here and there. If, there is a big amount of money maybe to be sent, it's good if you align, or if you take it as a portion from what you've agreed that this will be what you'll be spending, this will be what I'll be spending. There has to be that transparency, communication and transparency. So long as that is established, there won't be issues around trust or mistrust. There has to be alignment. This is where we're going. Kids come in, children expenses, school expenses, etc. There are things which should not be compromised, and you should know that, we are aligned on these, and then if XYZ happens, this is how you can deal with it. You have a bit of a leeway, I have a bit of a leeway, whatever that works for you. The key there is unity and alignment. You've got to make that decision together, yeah? Because again, you have instances where the families before marriage a part and parcel of your financing decisions. Now, when you get married, you should know that that has to change, and you should align how you'll manage those pressures. And you'd better deal with those before you get married, to just make clear boundaries in terms of, I'm going to start a home, this is what I'll be able to do, this I may not be able to do, this I may have to consult, etc. So you have to be aligned, because those can also be challenges. So again, no secrecy, transparency, unity, and alignment. That's the key.
Thank you very much. And if I'm to highlight on that one, Tanzania, we've had our mothers, our aunties have been hurt in relationships before. Na kwa hiyo unaambiwa saa nyingine hata ukiwa unaolewa, they tell you, you don't tell your man about every money. So you find women married, they have houses that their husbands know nothing about. Kuna kesi nimeona moja kwamba the husband actually, I think, killed his wife or killed himself, one of the two, because he came to realize the house they were renting for many years ni ya mke wake. Na mke wake amekuwa akimkumbusha kulipa kodi, and he did not know it was his wife's house. It sounds funny, but it is wrong. Hallelujah.
Yeah. Just, Pastor Fred, I think, shared something along those lines. There's a guy who was building a house, I think, somewhere in Mbezi, but did not inform the family. Unfortunately, the guy passed on. So the dalali is living in that house and took over the house. The dalali who sold him the plot, because ndo alikuwa anasimamia ujenzi and whatnot. No family member is aware of that house, you know. So it's things like those that can happen.
Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Ndossi. So people are afraid of being transparent because of other people's experiences. What I tell you is, when you choose to be the person of the book, don't just walk down the aisle with anybody. Make sure you hear from God. Ukisikia kwa Mungu akakwambia this is he or this is she, yani, you just be transparent and the grace of God will cover you through. There will be no need of transparency. We are not of the world. Tusiingie, but we don't know. We know many, it's sad kwamba hata born again Christian women do that. Anakuwa na viwanja na nyumba, mume wake hajui, na unakuta familia yake wanajua ya huyo mwanamke, but the husband is the only one ignorant. So let us walk the talk. You wanted to say something?
Just a little bit on that. The wife has something, and then the husband does not have an idea. This man is your covering. This man is the head. There are the position that God has put him. If you stay in your position, then you walk in blessings. Now, if you have something that is secretive, it means you don't have a covering. In whatever business you're doing, there's no protection. And this is a very serious opening where the enemy can come and attack. Because the way women are built is that they must have a leading. They must have a covering. That's why it will be your father before it becomes your husband. As in, you cannot avoid that as a woman. Now, once your husband is not aware of the businesses you're making, it means there is a friend or a guy friend somewhere who is helping you. Kwa sababu ulimwengu wa marketplace, it's pretty masculine if you're going to be honest with one another. So kuna makitu kupigana nayo uko unashindwa, but because your husband does not know, you have to find that friend who is going to help you. Now guess what? You are now becoming entangled. So you're opening a door. Of course, some of you are laughing because you know the word entanglement. Now you're opening a door. Taratibu kwa sababu, because money is the straight way into your heart. Kwa sababu mahali ambapo mali zako zipo ndipo ambapo moyo wako takuwepo. So if there is a guy who knows about your finances, that's a place of your heart, and he has a way of helping you out on it, and it's not your husband. Little by little, your heart starts going to this particular person. The next thing you know, infidelity imeingia kwenye ndoa. Infidelity imeingia kwenye urafiki ama your courtship mnayoifanya. So it's important. Now, of course, this works way better when it comes to marriage. But if you are courting with the intention of getting married, the transparency inaanza kuanzia huko.
Thank you very much. The family of Alex wants to say, Karibu, Mrs. Alexander.
Thank you. I wanted to add on that, on the finances issues. If you don't, even as a single person, we're going to get there when I'm talking about what I have to speak about, but I think I should speak it now since it relates to the finances. As a single person, if you don't train, and as an individual, just a Christian who knows God, fears God, train yourself to put money in its place. It will not only be a problem in marriage, it will be a problem from when you're single. And if it is a problem when you're single, it's not being it's not going to be different when you're married. You're just going to bring it along as a problem. So if you will let money stand between you and your partner, if you're dating, where the transparency should start from, and you think money is so valuable than that relationship, there's a problem. Actually, if you're dating somebody and they can't be as transparent in that area, that should be a red light. You shouldn't think they'll be different in marriage. It's already a red flag. Look, check it out. They can't disclose, they can't talk about money issues, they can't disclose. Apparently, you know, in other countries, developed countries, people will ask you about your debt status. Because unaweza ukawa unadaiwa mpaka kikoba sijui cha wapi mtaani. Then you want to come and bring it into marriage. Because once in marriage, it's going to be a joint issue. It's not your issue anymore. So if you can't come up and open up about finances, what should we think about that? So it is just an issue like any other issue that you have to deal with as an individual. Put money in its place. Let it not master you, in other words. Because if it masters you, it even ruins your relationship with God. Leave alone man. So put it in in its place, master it, and then you can relate with your spouse or the potential spouse. So if you can't have it clear, even when you're dating, check it out.
Thank you very much. Debt status, jamani. Mikopo ya chuo. Karibu, Mr. Ndossi.
Yeah, this is for the guys out there. Inabidi tuwe na kifua. There comes a time, it's real life, right? Kama alivyosema, it's not soap opera, it's real life.
Yes.
There comes a time when, you know, maybe you don't have enough, or you've already said that maybe for the next 2-3 weeks, then I'll be able to maybe get some money and do XYZ. Just bear in mind that kesho yake asubuhi utaambiwa kuna hiki na hiki bado kimeisha. Utakumbushiwa as though you did not, as if you did not communicate that just yesterday I said we have no money. Yeah. So expect that pressure and be able to sort of contain it. That's just real life. That's just real life, you know. And at times you also need to make some difficult decisions. I remember when we were moving, there was a pressure in terms of putting mapazia in the home. And on the other side, I was focusing on project ya kuhakikisha kwamba maji yanatoka nyumbani. So all the funds went towards maji. For some of you who have been at home, today hakuna mapazia nyumbani chini, except vyumba vya kulala tu. You know, so there are those, you know, tensions which will come, and you just need to pray that, you know, you're able to sort of manage. So I just wanted to sort of share that, because it's real life, right?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because, so, kama nimemwelewa vizuri pia, ameongelea umuhimu wa mawasiliano. Talk things. Make them on the table. I can't do this now. It's not my priority. You get to a neutral ground. You agree on the priorities, and you stop pressuring each other. Anyway, Mr. Alexander wants to talk about it again.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to add something there. A lot has been talked, and most importantly, I think if there is one of the areas in marriage that brings a lot of problems is in the area of finances. And as I'm speaking to men right here in the building, the men in the building. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wajuba nisikilizeni. If you want to have a straightforward sleep, siji unanielewa Yani ukiingia zako yani ile horizontal tunasema yani au sio Elandre? Yani umepiga horizontal hivi. Straightforward sleep. Make sure the issues revolving around money, she knows them. You have to be as much open as you can so that she knows how to handle some of the issues or some of the struggles that may come around, some of the issues that may arise. She will be able to cover them pretty well when she's knowing exactly how much pennies do we have, how much money do we have. Those are the most important things.
Thank you very, very much. Hilda wanted to say something as well.
Okay, on the issue of transparency, like what Pastor Tumaini said, I remember when we were about to get married, I took a loan, but I took a loan and never told Benj about it, and we got married. So I was paying it slowly, but he never knew about it. It was on Airtel Money. So here is when the problem came. Like, whenever he sent me money, it's called Nivusha, I think. I don't know. No, not Nivusha. It's called, I don't even remember the name, because that thing brought trouble. So whenever he would send money, that money would be
deducted.
So, he sent money and the money imekatwa, and kile kitu ambacho unapaswa kufanya na ile pesa hufanyi. You see where trouble now comes? So that's where trouble comes. So transparency is very, very important. From uko courtship, it's very important. Because ile deni ilituletea shida, yani ni shida. Because ilikuwa ni hela nyingi. So tumeendelea kulipa ile pesa. Yani kila nikikumbushia kwamba kuna lile deni. Yani ni hasira. Yani mpaka ikabidi nitafute a Tigo number. Just kwamba niyo natumiwa pesa huko, cause it was a loss kwa kweli. So transparency is very crucial.
Thank you very much. Tunasikia jamani Mr. Njau.
Yes.
Karibu.
I wanted to share something. By the way, what Elibariki said about the examples he gave about some other couples where a woman would manage finances, I think we're one of them. So
proud of you. Thank you very much.
So huyu ndo waziri wa fedha kwenye marriage yetu. Yeah, and she knows about we are transparent 100%. I tell everything about my finances to her, and I know everything about her finances. We budget at end of the month, so we know what we're earning and everything. So the point here is the way we look at it. We're looking at it as we are partners. We are partners in this. So assuming if you're in a business setting, when you have partners, every partner knows about everything that is going on in the company, yeah? And my motivation for that is, I know myself, I'm a bad spender. I'm working on that. Yeah, I'm working on that, and she's good with it. She's good, financial person. So that was the first reason. But another reason is because we are partners, and we all love that verse which says two are better than one, yeah? So we tend to apply it in some other areas, but then we don't utilize it so well in every aspect of marriage. And we're trying to do that because he has intelligence. I do have mine, you see, but when we put these two heads together, definitely we're going to do better in everything, yeah? So why would I stick in my ways, in my own intelligence? That would be a loss, misusing of this resource, yeah?
Yes.
And she has great intelligence, I tell you. So
how long have you been married again, Mr. Njau?
3 months and 27 days.
Aha. Yeah, they're still counting. You see? And they're that deep. That's why we have them on the panel. Thank you. Endelea.
Yeah, I hope you get the point. So we're basically maximizing what we have, including our brains. Yeah.
Amen. That's powerful.
I remember when they came for premarital counseling, we were talking about finances, and I think at the end, I showed them my balance in my account. I think it was 14,000 shillings or something. They were so relieved kwamba okay, kumbe maisha yanaweza kaendelea.
That was very encouraging.
Yes, and so one thing I want to thank God and thank these couples is that they're being very honest with us. Because sometimes you may have a certain a perspective of things, and then perception of things. Thank you, Mr. Ndossi. But then reality shows you kwamba maisha yanaendelea. Amen. Lakini pia kitu kingine kama tumejifunza, know your spending ability. Mama usije ukasema baba nipe mimi mkoba, kumbe wewe ni shopaholic. Ukisikia Dolce & Gabbana kaachia pochi mpya, you cannot control yourself. And please, before I forget, namba niulize pia kwamba we are all Christians, we are all born again. Inapofika kwenye masuala ya tupo kanisani, tuna fundraising. Unajua kuna mtu kama mimi Nora, ukinimotisha kidogo, nina pledge milioni, nitajua baadaye nitakapoipata. Nina imani ya kumwamini Bwana anipe milioni hata kama nina shilingi 10. So as a couple, do we consult? Like, oh, do I just pledge and then tutajuana nyumbani na mume wangu? Do I consult?
Big yes.
We
yes.
consult, eh?
We consult.
So hata kama uko ndani nasikia Bwana ananisemesha, najikaza. Au namwangalia baba kwa password kwamba niseme nisiseme.
Huyo bwana wa ndani inabidi umwambie tulia tu. Mpaka nipate kibali kutoka kwa Bwana wangu hapa.
Amen.
Kama una ile portion yako ya allowance, you can pledge that. Hiyo you can pledge.
Okay. Ile ya wote hapana. Okay, tumepata jibu eh. So that means when we know our strength and our weaknesses, unaweza kusema mpenzi, kwenye masuala ya pledges, wakiniuliza mimi nitasema ngoja tukajadili na baba. Au baba ndo atasema. Kwa sababu najua mimi naweza nikasema amount ambayo haipo, tukalala njaa mwezi mzima nyumbani. Hallelujah. Yes, kama we don't have anything to add on finances, if you allow me, we'll move to the next topic. And I would like us to talk about finances. Okay, so Mr. Ndossi wants to add on something.
Yeah, I think, biblical principles again have to be observed even as you get married. Tithe, please. That's a scriptural principle. And just make sure you encourage yourselves to do it. There is tithe, there is first fruits. If you don't have a deeper understanding, you can speak to pastors, etc. And then, yes, but it's very important. Issues around giving, tithe, first fruits as a family, it's very, very important. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Just one thing to add up. I think there's a guy who commented in there at the back who said something about joint account. I think that's one of the very important aspects you have to catch up as a couple, especially when you're in marriage. Think about opening a joint account where you can jointly have finances to cater for other projects that you may have. It brings a lot of transparency when you know that you have deposited certain amount of money, but you know for sure that that money that is in the bank, you cannot be able to go and withdraw it on your own. You have to be there together, because the teller will tell you, where is the other guy? You see? So I think that's very important aspect. You have to consider it at least for some projects that you may have in the future.
Thank you very much.